Hi and welcome to this week's Sim Racing News Roundup, where we take a look at all of the weekly sim racing news. Remember, if you want to be reminded of when the news gets updated, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos get uploaded. Okay, so kicking things off, and we've got a biggie from Automobilista 2 this week. So over the course of this week, well actually last weekend, the version 1.4 update for Automobilista landed. And being perfectly honest, it's huge. It's introduced a massive range of things. We've got some new content with it, including a 2022 remake of Spa as a nice free addition to anybody who already owns the Spa DLC. Some new cars, some new features, loads and loads of new stuff. The main thing being, this is where according to Razer, the physics engine reaches its maturity, so no big changes from now on, just incremental changes, tweaks and improvements to the engine. And in terms of what it's like, well, I've done a separate video review of this because I could spend ages talking about it, and quite literally do in the other video, so take a look at that if you want to see more about it. But in addition to the big 1.4 update, as is not surprising, there have been a couple of hotfixes that have come out around this, mainly around tweaking the various changes that have come through with 1.4. So we've got two hotfixes that have come out for that, which have just settled everything down and put everything in line. So really good stuff, and for me it puts Automobilista 2 in a really mature state and a great, incredibly rounded package that is arguably one of the strongest sim racing titles that is out there, full stop, period. But I'm sure people will debate that down in the comments. As always, links to all of the patch notes in the description field. So moving on from Automobilista 2 and RaceRoom. So RaceRoom has been updated, so it's added a lot of support for hybrid engines, which we'll talk about why in just a second. A load of physics updates for some of the Formula cars, some more trackside animations, playing around with some of the tracks that are featured in there, so mappings and a little bit of tidy up around the graphics and things like that. And they've also, as is a bit of a trend just lately, released their take on this year's Formula 1 cars. So the 2022 spec F1 car has come to RaceRoom under the guise of the Formula RaceRoom X22. So hybrid powered V6, halo, no ABS, no traction control, no launch control. I've had a very quick play around with it. It seems reasonably good from what I've played around with. It's similar-ish to the other ones out there. I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's as good as the AMS2 take on this year's Formula 1 cars, but you be the judge of it yourself if you've got both. It's a nice one to have as an addition. I think with all the liveries cost me about £6, so not hideously expensive in the grand scheme of things. I think you can pick it up for around about £4 if you just want the base car with one livery. We've then also got a small update for pure rock crawling. So this is a small indie title that gets a lot of playing around and love with it. So they've improved some of the UI functionality, fix some issues around controller inputs and whatnot. So a tiny change, but if you want a cheap, and I personally think more entertaining, if you want to use a steering wheel anyway, version of Mud Runner stroke Snow Runner, this is one that's well worth looking at, being perfectly honest. I quite enjoy it. I think I did put together a quick preview video or quick video on a review of it, so go take a look at that if you want to see what it's like. We've then had a rarity for Gran Turismo 7, and that's a hotfix. So normally with Gran Turismo 7 we have to wait month on month for their monthly releases where we get a big update and the content drop at the same time. In a rare move, they've actually put out a hotfix, which does raise a question: why the hell can't you hotfix other stuff, PD? And basically this is tiny. It fixed an issue which stopped progression around licensing and a tyre wear issue in one of the mission races. That's it. Absolutely tiny, really is. And then finally, news-wise, we've got a small PC-only hotfix for F1 22, and this is a stability patch for PC because it could just basically suddenly stop running and crash on you, and this is to help tidy that up along with some recommendations of stuff you should do. So fairly obvious things like verify the game cache and make sure you're running the latest version of whatever Windows flavor you're in and your graphics drivers are up to date. So all fairly straightforward. So that's this week's news, a fairly quiet one all in all, which is good because we've had a couple of busy weeks, but this one's been dominated by AMS2. So on to the content. What have you been looking at? Well, this is track-wise. It's a track mod for Assetto Corsa, and it's Rusty Valley Raceway. Now, this is kind of, well, it is a fantasy track, and it's an old abandoned track in the middle of America. It's just nowhere. It's got a deteriorated road surface, some really hefty elevation changes, which are great in VR. They really are. You need something with fairly compliant suspension on it. If you're going to run race cars on here, you're either going to need to really soften the suspension up, or, being perfectly honest, make sure they're vintage ones, or just not bother at all and stick with road cars. For me, it gives a real kind of you're broken into an abandoned racetrack and you're running your car around it feel, which is just great fun. And it looks really good. I really enjoyed this one, both on flat screen and in VR, but VR is where it really comes into its own. And as you cycle through day into evening and into night, it's just absolutely perfect. My pick of car for it is the 911 Singer. So this is the Benno Broke Singer package, and I've covered the all-wheel drive version, the 4-litre all-wheel drive version of this one before. I don't think I've covered the 3.8 rear-wheel drive one, so I thought, why the hell not? And being perfectly honest, it really does suit the track. The two of them go really well together. So if you do download Rusty Valley and you haven't got the Singer 911 pack, do yourself a favour, click on the links to both of them down below, download them and give this combo a go, because I genuinely think you'll find it's enjoyable. So that's everything for this week. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do hit the like button. If you haven't, hit the dislike button. As always, choice is yours. And once again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you soon. Take care.